Good afternoon, students. For today's second session of SAP, we have Nagaraj sir with us for the today's session, and I think we will should wait for a 5 to 6 minutes for the attendees to join, and then after sir will take over the class. Thank you, sir. You can start the class accordingly.
Thank you, Kunal. So, as our coordinator, Mr. Kunal, has said, we'll allow a couple of more minutes for the other students to join, and then we will start. As usual, till the time they join, you're most welcome to keep your questions in the Q&A section so that I'll be able to take it. Okay. Okay, students, I think we can start. So I was just going through my Excel sheet, and I think I have not addressed this issue, how a down payment is tracked. Please hold on. I will answer this question. Now, today we are going to start something very, very interesting. How does management accounting happen in SAP? So this happens in SAP through a module called as a CO module, controlling. It is also called as a controlling module, okay, or your management accounting module. Now, what does it help us with? So as I said in the very beginning, this is basically for your internal reporting. Your finance was for your external reporting. External reporting in the sense, basically, whatever reports you're generating in SAP, they are for the outside purposes, in the sense they are meant for the outside people who are interested in the business of the organization, your stakeholders, your auditors, but they are not the employees of your organization. They are not at all the employees of the organization, but they do have some interest in your business. Okay? Now, so this internal reporting, what do we mean by this? The reports, whatever is generated in the management accounting module, they are basically meant to remain within the organization, and more so at the top level only. Basically, yeah, most of the times the reports what you generate in your management accounting is for your top level management. Why? For the top management to take up strategic decisions. So whatever is pertaining to the profitability, to the productivity, to the expansion, whatever. So for the integral decision making, the reports have to be generated in SAP. So your CO module is the module which the organization looks at. Clear? Now, let us read the document. Let me try to add some more points. All right. Now you have various things called as cost centers, projects, profitability segments, internal orders. So basically, like we divided our FI module into various sub-modules, your AR, AP, GL, asset accounting, bank, tax. Similarly, you have the management accounting module broken up into smaller units. This is called as what you would have probably heard as, if somebody is interested to know, this is your COPA module, cost and profitability analysis. But more importantly, before this, you have internal orders. Okay, you have cost and profitability analysis. You have your material ledger. You have your uh, probably I can profitability analysis, and uh, what else can I add? Let me pick it up from this. The projects, it is your project systems PS module, okay, which again talks to the CO module. So projects here in the sense is related to your project systems module. Let me just put it this way: project systems. Project systems module. Now, I'll give you the other divisions of this, not to worry. One, I can add it as a material ledger. So all these things, they are a combination of modules. It is just not one module. Your project systems, if you see, it has got a very, very close interaction with your finance and your CO module. And how it is structured, let us keep the discussion aside for some time. But if the correct time arises, I will definitely tell you how we connect, how we go about connecting the other modules. But this, now we said, whatever module talks to the finance module, we have seen it happens through a concept called as your account determination. Clear? Hitherto we were talking about account determination, but here, though things are happening through the account determination, the setup looks a little different. Clear? Just hold on. I will explain in detail. So here, how does your financial accounting start? Starts with the creation of a company. Here again, the basic structure is called as your all your management accounting activities start with a structure being created, just like your company code as your controlling area or your CO area. Okay, controlling area or your CO area. It is something very similar to your company code. No difference at all. But this becomes the starting point for your controlling activities or your management accounting activities. All right. So when we talk about the finance or the project systems module, they talk to the CO area. Your project systems talks to your CO area. Your finance talks to your CO area. Your material management talks to the CO area. Your production planning module talks to the CO area. So all the other modules, they also have an integration with your CO area. Correct? Now, suppose if I say the HR module also talks to the CO area. How? You may be surprised or you may end up asking me a question. How does the HR module talk to your CO module? For example, I have an SAP project going on in my company. I have lots of junior consultants, senior consultants, project managers working for the project. So how do obviously I pay the salaries, correct? It is your finance and your HR. Now, how does SAP know that how much of money should I pay to a manager? How much of money should I pay to a senior consultant? What is a payment to your team lead? What is a payment to your junior consultant? So it is in your CO, module that you have a breakup. Like say your junior consultant may be paid at $60–70 per hour. Your senior consultant may be paid at $100 per hour. Your project manager, your team lead may be paid at $120 per hour. So like this, how do you structure? So this is where it forms a connection between your HR and your CO. So like this, even without the end user aware of all these complex settings, correct? You can see the system being beautifully designed for the system to accept the interaction between different modules. Clear? Let's go back to the content. Organizational structures are also based in all modules in the same. So I think this line is, I think by now you should be very, very aware. So do you see, we're already aware of the company code. So you can click, you will see the definition. Come to management accounting, you will see the definition for that. You see the logistics, it is a combination of your PP, SD, whatever, right? So this is how so you're already aware of all these terms. Everything starts with a client. Okay, the client is the highest organization. Now you have the controlling area. So now let us read what is a controlling area according to SA. A controlling area is the organizational unit within a company for which complete self-contained cost accounting functions can be carried out. A controlling area comprises one or more company codes, meaning one company code can have only one controlling area. But one controlling area can have n number of company codes under it. Was this point clear? I'll make this point in my Excel sheet. One is to n relationship. That means one CO area can have n company codes. One controlling area can be assigned to n number of company codes, but one CO can have only one CO area. One company code can talk to only one controlling area. Is this line clear? So like one head office can talk to n number of company codes, but one company code can talk to only one head office. Yeah. So this purchasing organization also is a part of your module, material management module. Yeah. And like we spoke about the vendor and the customer master data, this information is the last portion of your vendor or your customer data. So I said the vendor data is broken up into three views: your general, finance related, and your related. Similarly, the customer, general, finance, and sales. So this is your explanation about your purchase organization, which forms the basic entity, just like your company code and your controlling area. Just like company code is for your finance module, your purchase organization and your sales organization are for your and your SD modules, under which the respective module people, they define so many other objects. organizational objects like the plant. Clear? Typical to your CO module. So we have seen some new terminologies like your cost centers, projects, internal orders, profit center. So we have already seen the asset. How is this asset accounting related to your CO module? I will take you to the SAP system. Just hold on. Just today morning we discussed, right? So whenever you go and see a asset master, in the time dependent tab, can you see the cost center? Normally in your live projects, cost center becomes the, it is a mandatory entry. The end user must and should mention the owner department as to who is responsible for this particular asset. Clear? Without which SAP will not proceed in your asset accounting. You cannot move forward at all. Okay. So this information goes to your CO. Whatever cost center you're entering here, let me show you the examples. Company code, controlling areas also changed. I will show you how the controlling area GM01 looks like. Don't worry. Can you see in the process I have created so many cost centers. Now I should assign. So for the assembly department, for the test cost center, foundry, whatever. Okay, for the executive canteen. So this has to be a mandatory entry. Clear? So this is how the system will be set in your live SAP projects. This is how your asset accounting will be set, so that you must and should enter the cost center as a mandatory entry. Clear? This is how your information flows to the CO module also. Clear? HR, materials, production, sales. So I said your CO module is more sensitive and it is quite a bit of understanding. You will have to put in some effort to understand how the things flow because you people are still not experienced. One simple point. So once you try to understand the working of the system and also how the business works, relating should be very, very simple. Guys, I'll be talking a lot about theory. Okay. Do not get bored because each and every thing is very, very interesting. Okay. Because I could have straight away taken you into the CO, into the SAP system, but you need to have a background. Just like your finance module, you need to have a background in your CO module also. And for this, you should have worked in the cost accounting department. So that is exactly the reason as to why lots and lots of introductory talk has to happen even before we really get into the topic. This actually is very interesting because this is a place where you see a lot of budgeting, planning. Okay, and what is an internal order? What is what? Right? So you will see all that. So this is just for your understanding. You can read it. I'll pitch in only when there is core CO concept and for which probably you may not be in a position to understand. See, we were just talking about treasury today morning, cash management. Somebody asked me about the cash account or something, and we looked at a bank. So I said the information is flowing from the treasury. Now do you see this? So he says click on each icon information to find out more information about it. This module supports, as I said, treasury in itself is a huge module. So that's why it says the definition itself starts. This module covers the complete value chain for payment, cash and treasury operations through comprehensive risk management. So you have concepts like portfolio management, you have concepts like risk management. All right, so all these things are taking place in your treasury module. Okay. So he has given you a wonderful example of your internal and your external reporting. See your external reporting, balance sheet, P&L, PB, cash flow statement, retained earnings. And your internal is this: product costs, cost center reports, profit center reports, right? Variance analysis. Is it there? Variance analysis? No. So variance analysis is also a thing under this internal report. Clear? So you would have studied about your positive variance, negative variance, right? So all these things are taken care of in this module. So this module contains all the functions necessary for controlling cost and revenue effectively. Please do not take the meaning of controlling cost and revenue in the literary sense. It does not control. As per what my understanding goes, it does not control the costs. And let me just just hold on. One more area is your product costing. Okay. So basically you have 4 submodules under your CO. You have IO, internal orders, COPA, PC, product costing, and your material ledger, ML. This is also very interesting concepts, but let me not get into the depths of it. Right? Now, why did I say the depths of it? Because you are involving these modules only based on the requirement. So in CO, we have various scenarios. Basically, you structure the CO module based on the scenarios only. Yeah. Now you have, let me say, made to stock scenario. What is made to stock? You are piling up the stock because that is your business. Now suppose, so you set up the CO module differently for the made to stock scenario. Let me just, okay, let me continue here. Made to stock scenario. And the other one is made to order. So how do you set up as a consultant, as a CO consultant? How would you set this up? So whether you're taking the sales order into consideration, whether you're not taking the sales order into consideration. So all these factors, they play. Probably now you will not be in a position to understand or connect most of the statements what I am making. But all these things are a part of your CO model. Okay? I hope you are able to understand what is a made to stock, because this is your normal business. You're producing items. But whereas made to order scenario is you have received an order for manufacturing some special items, which is not your normal business. So how would you construct in the scenarios? How would you construct the SAP system? How would you construct the CO module? How would you build it up? This is the challenge of a consultant. Okay, just hold on. So this is what actually builds up your CO model. Okay, now data that system creates, and see, that's what he says. If you purchase a non-stock item, so he's referring to a different scenario. So like this, you have various scenarios which you must actually create in SAP. So here you see, okay, I'll come back to cost centers a little later. So now if you have the COPA module in place, you have another entity called as, please be very careful. I'll put this up somewhere here. When you're talking about the COPA module, apart from the CO area, you have another entity, which is the starting point for your COPA module. Let me just check if the name is already appearing. No. See, here it is discussing how closely you're connecting all the cycles, purchase to pay. I think by now you're aware of these terms, because in the very initial sessions, I said what is purchase to pay, order to cash, plan to produce. Okay. So now coming back to, I didn't see that word. So basically, your operating concern will be your starting point for your COPA module. So now you have the structure. Now we studied about the company, the head office, the company code, the branch, the controlling area. Above the controlling area, it is the operating concern. So now do you see how the structure is getting complicated? Are you able to connect? Now we see the client, your company, company code. Above the company is your controlling area. Above the controlling area is your operating concern. Clear? Now do you see, based on the requirement of the project, you are building up your you're building up your organizational structure. So we were happy when we studied only the company code, the chart of accounts, the fiscal year variance. They were all the organizational entities or your organizational objects or your organizational elements within the finance model. But when you talk about your controlling, the language is different. You're in a position to understand. It could be a little, it obviously it sounds very different from that of your finance module, but yes, this is the way, this is what you can expect from your CO module. Is all what I can say. Okay. So coming back to our, so like this, as I said, see, scenario based. If you are purchasing a non-stocked item, where does the differentiation start? Your differentiation starts from your purchase module and how the finance module reports it or takes that transaction. So it all depends on that. I think this line is very, very external reporting, right? Management effective for your internal reporting. So these are the achievements, or this is the end results of your FI. This is your what actually your CO module should achieve. Clear? You can just read it, quite interesting. All for your reading. I think most of the concepts you can connect it to your CMA topics. Yeah, the terminologies could be a little different. See here, can you see a new term, BOMs? What is BOMs? Bill of materials. Okay, now this is your BOMs. They are talking from the production planning module. So your production planning module talks to the CO module through your BOMs. Not only this, your concepts like your minimum order quantity, economic order quantity, safety stock, lead stock, everything is available in your CO module. Probably they may call by it may be called by a different name, but these things are very much available. So you come across various other terms also when you're talking about the integration between your production planning module and your CO module. You have one is your BOMs, the other one is MRP. What is MRP? Not your maximum retail price. No, it is your material request plan. Clear? So all these things, they are a part of your PP module, which comes and hits your CO module. Let us read this. Standard cost estimate. I think this should not be new to you. So probably when you go through these slides, it will be a lot more informative. So spend some time. People who have got the access, I think by now everybody should have got the access for this material, right? Please spend some time as and when you Get some time. Please spend some time reading this, but don't start from your CVO module. I would prefer you start from your finance module. Clear? So that you have a organized way of learning things. You use cost center accounting. Now, what is a cost center? You can create cost centers according to the various criteria. But basically, what is a cost center? A cost center is nothing but a department in your organization. So in my structure, whatever I've done is, let me go back to. So you saw some example for your cost center. How a consultant defines the cost centers. As I said, cost center is nothing but a department in your organization. Okay, so here how I have imagined the scenario is, in my SAP system, I have direct cost centers and indirect cost centers. Now, what do I mean by direct and indirect? Direct cost centers are those departments which are directly involved in the manufacturing process. Your production department. In the production department, I can have an assembly department. I can have a painting department. I can have a forging department, milling department, machining department, whatever. So how a consultant after having gathered the required information as regards what should be a cost center in the business, he designs the structure like this. Typically, this is the role of a consultant. Yeah, of course, the end user also has the authority, or rather if he has given the access and the authorization, he too can create cost centers. SAP will not stop. Now we'll cross this financial accounting, come down to controlling. Cost center. Can you see this internal orders, profitability analysis, product cost controlling? All these are your sub-modules under your major CO module. Clear? Now, cost centers, master data, cost center, individual processing, KS01. Now I'll simply go to the display, because I know I have created some cost centers. Controlling area, so immediately it will ask me for the controlling area. In which controlling area? It will not ask me for the company code. It will ask me under which controlling area you have created this cost center. So just go to the FO, pick up some cost center. I'll reduce the search to 10 items. You can go and see P0005, P003. I picked up some random cost center. Yeah, this is a milling department. Yeah, valid from this date to this date. Your controlling area is this. It is a milling department. You can see the other tabs also. Now, did the consultant create this coming to the screen? Not exactly. Go to SPRO. Just remember this word standard hierarchy. Just remember this, because I'll be revisiting that topic again. Standard hierarchy. Controlling. cost center accounting, or even before cost centers, how does a consultant create the controlling area? General controlling, organization, maintain controlling area. You can read what is a controlling area. Typical SAP definition. Can you see such a big thing? Explanation. Read it. Very interesting. Create, copy, delete, check company, check controlling area, maintain. So I create my GM01 controlling area here. Okay, it takes me to the screen. Probably you will not be able to understand anything from the screen. Don't bother. So maintain. Just like you had your standard company code by this entity, you also have the controlling area, the standard controlling area delivered by SAP by the same code 0001. Clear? Now here I double click. It takes me into the details about the controlling area. Name, it's a German name. Company code, controlling area. So this is the place where I set the relationship between that 1:n and n:1, whether this particular controlling area has many many company codes, or it has only one company code under it. So if it has one company code, this is a setting, controlling area, same as company code. But if you allow many company codes to report to the same controlling area, then the setup would be this cross company code. Yeah. So like this, you have so many things to understand in your controlling area, not as simple as your company code. You have many more things for you to understand and relate it to your business, and more so related to your CEO. You getting my point? Now activate components. So I have created the controlling area, no doubt. But under the controlling area, what parts of my CO module is active? Can I have the cost centers active, cost center accounting? Yes. Do I have the internal order management? Yes. Do I have the commitment management? Yes. Do I have the profitability analysis? No. So if I do not want to activate my order management, I can do so, not active. So it depends on what exactly I require and what I do not want. Under the CO area, it is a very broad concept, but under that broader concept, what are the things that I require as far as I have understood my implementing partners business? This is the place where I control. Now, assignment of company codes. Do I have one company code or do I have n company codes reporting to the controlling area? In this case, I had standard company code 0001 reporting to the standard CO area 0001. Clear? I will not save any changes. Okay. Just like you had the number range concept in your finance, your CO has also got a number range concept, but in a different way. Now, what is different? CO area is GM01. Go to intervals and see. But how did I bring in this number range? Now, if you have closely observed, there is something called as a group. Did you see this in your finance? No. This is very similar to your documents. See here, what am I trying to do? I'll just click. It will take you into the area of cost accounting, which you are supposed to keep it active. Can you see automating WIP, result analysis, work in progress, or your inventory? So like this, if you just go down, can you see this? Settlements, what is planned settlements, what is actual settlements, what is distribution, what is transfer pricing, all these things you have, what is split costs. So all these things you are going to activate for your controlling area to accept, provided you have these requirements from your business. For whomever you are implementing the CO module, you are going to study that and you are going to configure these things in your system. Understood? And you have versions also. This is where I said, where you have the variance analysis. Okay. Are you allowing it in your system or not? Depends on, see, variance, plan, actuals, WIP, RA is your results analysis, inventory. Very critical area. We had a project where we worked on this particular results analysis. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay. So it all depends on, normally by default, we have the 0. We have the 0 being available for our controlling area. Clear? You definitely, I'm just saying default in the lighter context, but you'll have to bring it in. You'll have to explicitly tell the SAP system. Okay. Now, we were trying to talk about the cost centers, right? Cost center, master data, cost centers, define standard hierarchy. If you had seen the, I'll just go back to the cost controlling area. I'll take, for example, I can take my controlling area only, GM01. Double click. Can you see that there is some cost center standard hierarchy? This is your heart. Now, in SAP CO module, whatever structure you are creating, in finance, you didn't have this concept. Now, whatever you are creating, let it be your profit center, let it be your cost centers, whatever, you will have to definitely create this on a skeleton. There is a structure on which you need to fill in the, or you need to create the individual cost centers or your profit centers. So this is the thing followed in your CO module. Nothing happens without, you cannot create any cost center or your profit center without the cost center, without the hierarchy. It is a backbone. You can simply read the definition. I have pressed F1. Just hold on. Indicated hierarchy of cost center groups in which all cost centers in the controlling area are gathered together. See standard hierarchy. You require a structure in the master data. That's exactly what I said. So the structure or the skeleton or the backbone on which you're going to create all your entities pertaining to your CO area, right? They have to be necessarily constructed under the hierarchy. Like I said, let me have a structure in your cost center, in our cost center structure. I have direct and indirect cost centers. Under the direct, I have the various departments. Under the indirect cost centers, I have some other departments, like you say, finance department, HR department. So they're all indirect cost centers who are not directly involved in the production activities. So this is a structure which I would have understood based on the discussion with my implementing partner. Your design could be anything. You could design your cost center structure any way you want, but it should meet the requirement of your partner. Your implementing partner should be okay with whatever you are doing. Clear? Now do you see how different the subject is from your finance module? You agree? So this is how we understand the CO area. Now this is the structure which we saw. So here also we saw that hierarchy. And here we define the cost centers, create cost centers. Now, if you click on this, if you execute, here you can go through the documentation where he says what is the meaning of a cost center. You can read it in your free time. Now, if at all a consultant wants to create cost centers, this is the transaction. Create cost center. Or normally, I do not actually go here. I go to the standard hierarchy, where along with the structure, I can also create the master data. I'll have a see. I have a, you saw this GM01 underscore CCTR, which is your standard hierarchy, which you saw in your controlling area, under which I have direct cost centers, indirect cost centers, and direct cost centers. So under direct, I have production. Under production, I have fabrication department, bunker drilling department, I have painting department, assembly department. And under the indirect cost centers, you can see the non-executive canteen and executive canteen. So this was a structure which I understood from my implementing partner, and this is how I have designed it. So basically I have under the cost centers, I have the direct and indirect, I have certain cost centers, and in the direct cost centers, I have a few cost centers. Students, how do you feel this? A little complex, little boring? And please, if I'm not able to, or rather, if I do not answer any of your questions, what types of questions are asked in an interview related to practical SAP? Shall we take this question once we are back from our break? We'll take a short break for 10 minutes. We'll assemble by 3:10 or 3:11. Okay, Kunal? Kunal, you're there? Hi, Kunal. Okay, we will take a break for 10 minutes. We'll assemble by 3:10 or 3:11. All right.
Yes, sir. I think you have taken a pause for a minute ago.
Yeah, Kunal, we have just taken a break for 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. 2 more minutes and we will start off. We'll resume. All right. So there was one question. What types of questions can we expect related to practical SAP? I would say zero. I would just say zero because as an interviewer, I would be knowing your position that you are a fresher in SAP and hence probably you might not have faced the project scenarios, obviously. So I would be asking some very, very basic questions. Like say, how many charts of accounts can be assigned to a company code? Okay, so what is a mandatory assignment? What is how do I define a financial year in SAP? Okay, so all these things, all such questions may be asked, but definitely not uh, practical SAP solutions on your SAP system. Definitely, because as a person handling your interview, I should be aware that you are still freshers and you would not have faced the project systems, right? The project SAP side. All right. Did it answer your question? So it will be theoretical. It will just be theoretical. Even your assessment examination will also be theory. Nothing absolutely will be on the practical side. It will be MCQ based, multiple choice questions. So you don't have to worry. Questions will be simple. Clear? Now, coming back to our. So did you see this? So I take up the requirement from my implementing partner, and as a consultant, I design the SAP system. Okay. Or rather, I design the cost center structure. But whatever said and done, whatever you define in SAP as a master data, it must be done on a structure, predefined structure, predefined backbone. Okay, probably this concept wouldn't have been applicable to the finance module, but it is very, very applicable as far as your CO module is concerned. I think I may have to relog in again. Just hold on. So we have also seen the inside of the cost center. Clear? So we know how the consultant defines the cost center, how the end user defines the cost center. and we have seen the inside of the controlling area, the inside of the cost center also. Okay, let us read the theory for some time. So cost centers are separate areas within a CO area where costs are collected, costs are incurred. Okay. So basically it's a cost collection bucket. So you can create cost centers according to the various criteria, including the functional considerations. So as I just said now, that is based on the various business requirements for my, or rather of my business partner, I do this. I design the cost center structure. So he has exemplified with a typical company. Just go through this. Once you know what exactly you're supposed to achieve, understanding the slides would be very, very easy. Okay. So basically, this also involves rather this learning phase of yours as far as this course is designed. You're also supposed to read this. Yeah. So basically, the SAP subject itself is like that. Nobody teaches you complete SAP. Nobody teaches you the complete SAP. You need to dig into the system, understand, and come out. This especially happens in your live projects because even they won't be having time to teach you. Yeah, they will be busy in their own issues. Clear? And the other side also won't be kind enough to say, okay, it is okay, you can take your time. No, it doesn't happen. They are merciless. When you're talking about the implementing partners, they are actually very, very professional. You cannot have a friendly relationship. Yes, you can, but on a business, strictly on a business note. Nothing as a friends. Now, how to maintain internal orders? What is an internal order? Settle orders, track order activity. How do these things happen? Now, basically, I go back to my. So we said this, correct? So they are temporary cost collectors. Now, what do I mean by temporary cost collectors? Now, let us say there is a marketing department. They're organizing a fair where the company wants to project its items, project its uh, whatever it wants to sell, products. Basically wants to market its products. So what happens? The marketing department probably say it wants to enter into a trade fair. Okay, and let us assume that this trade fair goes on for 1 month. Okay, so during this 1 month, on a day-to-day basis, I keep incurring a lot of expenditures. Correct? You agree with me? I keep incurring a lot of expenditure. Like say, probably I set up a store. Every day I need to pay rent. I employ 3 people in the store. So I need to take care of their refreshments. So I'll be spending some money for their refreshments, for their lunch, whatever. So every day I'll have some costs being expended against this trade fair. All right. So now let me assume that the management wants to know how much I have incurred, what are my expenses as far as this particular trade is concerned, trade fair is concerned. What did I achieve by carrying out this 1 month trade fair? What was my, did it help my business? How did it help me? So these are the analysis which the management wants to do. Yeah. So, but who's the owner of these expenses? It is this cost center, marketing department. So for the 30 days, what I do is I keep collecting cost against a particular internal order, which I create for this purpose. So where do I create the internal order? Just hold on. I'm just showing you the place, but there is a lot of other things which you might have to understand even before you talk about the internal order. Accounting, controlling, internal orders, master data. So here, let me use the transaction code itself, KA01. Oh, sorry, KO, sorry. Can you see the order type? So I have a standard defined order type. So basically I would create an order by mentioning the order type. Normally it is going to be an investment order. Let me pick up something. See projects claim internal order, investment order. Enter. So it will take me into the creation. Here I create an internal order and I say, and let me assume that I create an internal order ABCD. This is not actually the name. The cost center, the internal orders will also have some meaningful naming conventions. So I create this and say, clear? Now where do I use this ABC? So I said every day I keep getting expenses against this particular trade fair, regarding this particular trade fair. So where do I record this? I'll open another session. Just go to the right. Can you see something called as an order? This is the place I enter the internal order. So this expense, T expenses debit to cash. This expense is going to the internal order. I'm absorbing it in a temporary cost collector called as an internal order. And later, what do? You saw another concept, right? Settlement. Settle orders at the end of the or at the expiry of the internal order, or maybe every month. Against what am I settling this cost? Again, I'm transferring all the costs, whatever I have collected in my internal order, to the owner cost center. So whatever I have spent against the ABCD, I'm assuming that I have created an ABCD. Let me see if I have any. I don't think I haven't created any internal orders. Somebody has created CPR. Okay, CPR1. So against this particular internal order, I'm collecting all the costs. At the end of the expiry, at the end of the trade fair, I am going to transfer all this to the relevant cost center. What is my cost center here? It is a marketing department. So how does it help me? How does internal orders help me? Is this helping me? Definitely, right? Suppose the management wants to analyze what has happened to the trade fair. What benefits did I get from my trade fair? Can I not pull out my internal order and find out? Did you understand the concept of internal orders? Now, if you saw I'm not going to create anything, don't worry. So here, if you saw, I can also plan for my internal orders. I can budget. Suppose I have like say 2 lakh rupees for my month for the trade fair. So I have budget, original budget. I can set up the budget here. Right? Against that ABCD, I set up the budget and I say, now I can display. Now, let us say at the end of the 25th day, I have a feeling that or probably my marketing department manager, he said that probably this fair is going to overrun the budget by around 50,000 rupees. So what do? I again, what should I say? I again permit another 50,000 rupees for this particular trade fair. So what do? 2 lakh rupees is my original budget. 50,000 rupees is the supplement. I add 50,000 rupees to the budget. So my total budget becomes 2.5 lakhs. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do this practically because I am lacking data. Okay, and if I have to create data, I need to create lots and lots of things, right? And suppose instead of 2.5 lakhs, 50,000 rupees has been freshly added to the budget. Out of the 2.5 lakhs, I spent only 2.3 lakhs. 20,000 rupees is the balance in the budget for that particular internal order. Now, what can I do? I can return the 20,000 rupees. I can return the 20,000 rupees back to the authorities through this. So did you see how the things are being building up? So you have a concept of master data, you have the concept of cost collection, you have the concept of budgeting, you have the concept of planning, you have the concept of returning, you have the concept of adding to the budget. Did you see the concepts? How much of it is covered in the internal order? The same thing holds good even for your cost centers. Even if you open the cost centers, just open the cost center, master data. Can you see the planning? So here again, you have the same concepts. You can have the budget for the cost centers. You can budget your cost centers. Clear? Was this understood? Now, one interesting question. Now I have created so many cost centers. Now, how do I affect the cost centers? Where do I use the cost centers? Can you see there is also a cost center here? Suppose this particular entry, this particular expense relates to a cost center. I can enter the cost center. Clear? Is this understandable? Is this understood? So this is how SAP works. And now you have the concept of settling. You saw that word settled, right? KO88, KO88. You settle the internal order. So for which you have the order and you have the settlement rule. I need to mention the settlement rule. Against what are you settling? Basically, in your as far as the internal orders are concerned, you are basically settling it against a particular owner cost center. Let me pick up something. I should be having some order here. Unfortunately, I don't have. So I have the settlement rule, but firstly I need to enter this. So again, you have a test run. Your test run is not new. In the morning itself, we had a information as to what is a test run and why SAP has given you this. Clear? So this is how you settle the order against your cost center. Mainly it's your cost center. You always 99 times you settle it against your cost center. But if you are considering a scenario of your assets under construction, you settle this against the asset, the final asset. You are accumulating all the costs in the form of steel, cement, paint, steel rods, accessories for your apartment, right? I'm building a 50 flats apartment. So one apartment is my asset. So only and only when I complete all the 50 flats, I cannot transfer the cost of all these 50 flats to my finally completed asset, which is my apartment. Do you understand? Probably the things could be a little vague now, but once when you lay your hands on the system, probably things will be in place. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect the theory with your SAP system so that the understanding would be different. Because I saw the word settle, you might be wondering, what do I settle the order? Right? And firstly, you must know the working of the internal order. What is an internal order? What is the purpose? What is the practical purpose? Forget SAP. Isn't this what happens? Suppose I have an exhibition and I set up a stall. I want to know how my products are doing. What is my gain after I have set up my stall in a exhibition? What is it that I'm gaining? I cannot simply spend money and just for the sake of spending money, right? I do have a business purpose. I hope Understanding these as far as the internal order is concerned is okay. So activity type, basically your HR. I said your senior consultant, junior consultant, right? So they are being defined as activity types. You can see human capitals. So basic, your entire information is here. The whole subject comes down to this HR. Your activity types is in your HR. Your internal orders. I hope now this explanation is getting a little clearer. I'm not expecting 100% clarity. All right. So where are the activity types defined? Can you see the activity type? This is where the activity type is defined. Yeah. Single activity. All right. A lot of terminologies I do understand your concern. It's all about using internal orders. I gave you the practical example of how you use your internal orders and where you enter that internal order. So I create an internal order, but where do I use it? So I showed you the place where you use the internal order also. So where you're connecting your transactions to your internal order. Just hold on. Let me take a few questions if you have any. How do we do invoice processing? Can you please tell me what this means? You mean to say how do you post an invoice? How do you enter an invoice in SAP? Customer, vendor, or a simple journal voucher? You mean that? Very good. Very nice. Wonderful. If you can please tell me, invoice processing, simple invoice, we do it here. Simple invoice processing, we do it here. Financial accounting, general ledger, document entry, we do the invoice processing here. We enter the journal voucher. But if at all you're referring to a customer invoice or to a vendor invoice, we go to the respective areas. Accounts receivable, where we process the sale invoice. I hope I have answered this question of yours. But if you want further clarity, if you tell me what this exactly means, I will show it. That should not be a problem. All right. Very good. Excellent. So moving on with the topic. So we have seen how practically we make use of the internal order, how we collect costs. Yeah. All the same explanation. All right. He has given you some example. Okay. So what does this mean? So your overheads are those which are directly not identifiable to a specific cost center. I'm not able to identify the costs, or rather, I have incurred the cost, but I'm not in a position to identify the cost center, the owner of that particular expense. This is your overheads, right? Indirect apportionment and allocation. So if you're able to identify the owner cost center, you're directly going to allocate that expense. But in case you are not in a position to identify the owner cost center, in that case, you come up with a concept called as apportionment. I think these terms are not new to you, right? See, energy costs. The costs are processed within the CO module. How? Through the concept of primary and secondary cost elements. So basically, your finance module talks to the CO module by means of primary and secondary cost elements. Primary cost elements are those where you're directly able to identify the owner of that expense. Suppose you're spending 10 lakh rupees for your production department as your salaries. You have employed people and you are paying for the whole department. The expenditure incurred towards salaries is 10 lakh rupees. So you're able to easily identify the 10 lakh rupees, right? So your production department is your cost center. So you're directly able to identify that particular cost. But if I ask you for the whole of the production department or whatever, the electricity bill is say some 65,000 rupees. Out of the 65,000 rupees, if I ask you how much is the power expenses towards your painting department, towards your fabrication department, towards your assembly department, would you be in a position to tell me? With great difficulty, yes. This is your apportionment. This is your secondary cost elements. So the information from the finance module flows into your CO module through your primary cost elements and indirectly through your secondary cost elements. Let me just show you that place before I wind up for today. Okay, I'll just go to the CO cost element. Okay, I'll make a note of it and I will tell you more about this primary and the secondary cost elements tomorrow. So I have made note of it. Okay. Kunal, can you please take over?
Sure, sir. Thank you,
you.
students. We will continue from here now. And the students who have any questions related to SAP Logon or SAP GUI energy credentials which you have got. I think you have already got all the credentials. And also share your feedback. Also share your feed. Mummy, जाने. And students, please also share your feedback till now. How did you like the class? What are the good things you got, or whatever your feedback related to all the classes which you had till now? I have opened the comment section. You can comment your questions, your feedback, everything, whatever you got in your hand. Share it with us. Student, right now I have they didn't open my camera, so it will be shown that live event will continue in a moment, but it is already continuing. So you can post your questions, reply, feedback, anything, whatever you have in a question answer sections. Waiting for you. Students, once the total class will gets over, there will be a MCQ based exam. What is the performer of that exam? What kind of question? What is the marks? There are negative marks or not? All that query you can send it to the skill training at that icma.in. They will share the detail with you, but it will be a MCQ based exam. Once you clear the exam, uh, participant certification will be generated from SAP. It will also after take time for 7 to 14. Might be some days it will take time. Once you clear the assessment in the same portal of energy, you will get the certificates. I think I have cleared some of your doubt who have related to this. Students, you can leave the session now. It has already been over. We are winding the session for now. Thank you.